In this video, I'm going to demonstrate how you can use pivot tables to deal with qualitative data. Qualitative data would be something like looking at objective. For instance, this is an example of a number of mutual funds, about 800 of them. Some of them have an objective to growth objective. Others have different objectives such as value, and you have different categories of mutual funds. Some of them have fees, some don't, some have low risk, some have high risk, and so on. So we can actually summarize 838 mutual funds simply using our pivot table. And how do we do that? Well, first we go to Insert, Pivot Table, and ask for Pivot Table. And it usually automatically highlights the data. If it doesn't, go ahead and do that. And we're going to put each one of our reports or outcomes in a new worksheet. So the new worksheet bubble is filled up. Then I'm going to say OK. And this is generally how it shows. If it doesn't, go ahead please and go to Options and under Options and try to get the classic pivot table. Although other ones work too, the classic is pretty easy. So let's say I want to summarize category versus fees, or objective versus fees. So I'm going to take objective and drop it right here. It says drop rows, so it's going to create a bunch of rows for me. The objectives are growth, value, and I'm going to come up with growth and value. For instance, what about risk in relationship to growth and value? I'm going to pull this and drag it with my mouse button and drop it in the column field, and where it says value fields, you do the risk again. It counted all 838 funds and said 480 of them are growth, 358 are value. Average risk is 245, high risk 346 of them, low 247. This is not it. Pivot table does a lot for us and gives us various summaries. So if I click on count of risk, double click on that, it says show values as. Let's say right now I've chosen no calculation. Okay, I can go down, that's the default. I can go down and say show each one of these cells and these as well as a percentage of grand total, which is sitting right here. Okay, notice everything changed. So average risk and growth funds are 15.75% of that. 888 funds are the cross of those two, average risk and growth. Growth and high risk, they're about 40% of all the funds. Let's say I go back again, double click on count of risk, it says show values as. I click on that. Let's say I want to zero in on the percentage of columns. Okay, so if I just narrow down my funds to average risk, of all the average risk, 53% are growth, 46% are value. So you don't have to count all these things one by one. Pivot table has done all of that for you. High risk, out of that category of high risk, 95 or 96% roughly are growth funds and 4% value funds. Let's say I double click on this and show values as. Let's say I go to no calculation again. Okay, I can do some of my own calculations. I can click on say 16 as a percentage of, divide by, click on 247. It'll give me the computation. Or I could pick 332 as a percentage of total. Gives me that as well. So I can do my own computations, or by double clicking on count of risk, show values as, I can go and find other values that fractions that I'm interested in. So pivot tables are really powerful, and they can be used in many areas where you've got actually non-numbered data. Those are called qualitative data, verbal data, so to speak. Thanks, and I hope this helps.